अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
Arnab Goswami on the debate.
On the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the world's second largest army, the fourth largest air force, and the fourth largest navy combines to put us in the top three. Where have we already become our military global superpower? And at 9 o'clock tonight, when he goes to Adampur, everybody says, the Josh is high, Mr. Prime Minister. The nation standing behind its brave armed forces, Operation Sindoor, giving a significant boost to national morale. And ladies and gentlemen, it's great to see you this evening once again. What a week it has been. We remember, let's put together the events over the last week, ladies and gentlemen. Exactly a week to the day tonight is the 13th of May 2025, and the growing realization that India has become a military superpower. The fact that we've hit Pakistan so hard, and we've hit them with thinking and without the slightest bit of leeway. Ladies and gentlemen, the country is as powerful as its military strength. The economy matters something, but there are factors, there are countries which punch way above their weight in terms of global power index. Countries like Turkey, countries like Russia, smaller economies, but big powers by virtue of their ability to project power. Now, I began a podcast I did earlier today by saying that while the Gandhian approach is all right for certain things, it's not all right to assessing, evaluating our military strength. Ladies and gentlemen, I think what we have now is a militaristic mindset in the nation after the way we've hit Pakistan. We're the only country in the world which has hit a nuclear power 11 times, 11 different air bases, and finished them off and destroyed 25% of the air force in one strike. And the fact is, had the Pakistanis not gone crying uncle to the Americans, we would have continued to hit them harder and deeper. That is the reality. Ladies and gentlemen, my hashtag tonight says it all. India military superpower. And since we have the ability and the political leadership right now to project that power, let that new story begin. Let's debate. Ladies and gentlemen, I will continue to tell you more details about this, but I want to play a clip of the Prime Minister's speech in Adampur before I go to that news report. Let's start with a clip, ladies and gentlemen, of the Prime Minister's visit to the Adampur Air Base. Can I see the visuals on the screen, please? And those chants of Bharat Mata Ki Jai, Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Ladies and gentlemen, as we stay with these pictures tonight, when the Prime Minister says today at the Adampur Air Base, where he goes to meet the soldiers, we are eternally grateful to our armed forces for everything that they have done for our nation. We're also grateful for this kind of political leadership that gives a free hand to our military. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a quick report, and then we'll debate.
अधर्म के नाश और धर्म की स्थापना के लिए शस्त्र उठाना, ये हमारी परंपरा है। इसलिए जब हमारी बहनों, बेटियों का सिंदूर छीना गया, आतंकियों के फन को उनके घर में घुस के कुचल दिया।
अटैक हुआ है नूर खान बेस पे।
9 terror camps eradicated from map of Pakistan and POK.
वीडियो है, देख ले।
Over 100 terrorists killed. Military installations obliterated. We have shown the world what Indian armed forces are capable of.
बचत थी वाह दरा दरिया पूरा घर लुड़िया।
ये अटैक हुआ है नूर खान बेस पे।
Neither Pakistan nor its backers sitting in China and Turkey should be mistaken. India is a military superpower.
भाई वीडियो सबसे पहले बने ये भाई धमाका होयो हिन सुंदर इन्वेस्टर स्टेट में।
बड़ी है मिसाइल गिरे है।
We are the fourth largest spender with a budget of over $80 billion to the defense sector. India has world-class air defense and detection system that stopped every single drone and missile sent by Pakistan. With 2 defense industrial corridors in Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, the focus is on Make in India, making weapons for India in India.
साथियों, आज हमारे पास नई और कटिंग एज टेक्नोलॉजी का ऐसा सामर्थ्य है जिसका पाकिस्तान मुकाबला नहीं कर सकता। आपने टैग को टैक्टिक्स से जोड़कर आपने सिद्ध कर दिया है कि आप इस गेम में दुनिया में बेहतरीन है।
India is no more just assembling parts. We are designing, engineering, and developing the tech behind the weapons. We are not only producing for ourselves, but also exporting them. India is not only making the weapons, but we are making them into international standards. We are building sophisticated military hardware once dominated by Western manufacturers. Technology Development Fund is giving a big boost. Over 5,000 companies have been engaged with the TDF initiative. Our Navy is capable of operating 2 aircraft carriers, INS Vikramaditya and INS Vikrant. Along with the domestic efforts, global players are also showing interest. FDI policies have been loosened up to push for more joint ventures and tech transfers. Besides, India is one of the strongest and professional armed forces. Second largest standing army, 4th largest air force, and the 4th largest blue water navy in the world.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर का एक एक क्षण भारत की सेनाओं के सामर्थ्य की गवाही देता है। आर्मी हो, नेवी हो या एयरफोर्स, सबका तालमेल बहुत जबरदस्त था। नेवी ने समुद्र पर अपना दबदबा बनाया, सेना ने बॉर्डर पर मजबूती दी और भारतीय वायुसेना ने अटैक भी किया और डिफेंड भी किया।
Our nuclear triad gives us a significant edge to conventional forces. Our soldiers are provided modern warfare training integrated with their defense courses. An unmatched synergy between the three forces ensures well-coordinated joint forces operations. And with an ambitious leadership, defense modernization is our biggest focus. India's largest nuclear power itself is the only country to take a nuclear power, and that does not happen without complete faith and confidence. It's just the beginning of India's emergence as a global military superpower.
And Professor Madhav Nalapat, General K.K. Sinha, General G.D. Bakshi, General Bishambar Dayal, Commodore Bikramjit Singh, Saurabh Shukla, and my first question is to Tom Copper, who is a military historian who specializes in air warfare. So a historian of the air forces in a way, live from Vienna, and he has been making the news here because he said here, and Tom, you've said that Pakistan had no retaliatory power left. And in India, we were really brutal in the last round of attacks when we targeted 11 bases, potentially also nuclear storage facilities. So I want your comment on that and how you view it, this round, and why you feel it went so strongly for India. Tom.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and nice to be with all of you, honorable gentlemen, this evening. As for your question, it's relatively simple. When you see, and there is lots of evidence that has emerged over the last 3 days, how one side in a conflict is, targeting the other side and hitting, not only targeting, but hitting that other side, and destroying facilities, destroying hangars, hitting, let's call them entrances to underground facilities. Then one can see videos and photographs of missiles hitting enemy air defense systems. And so the situation is quite, or at least gradually becoming clear. And it is obvious that one side is hitting the other, and the other has no means, or is at least trying to retaliate, but not very successfully. And I would especially say that, I know that leading Indian military commanders have denied this, but if I know that there is a specific underground nuclear storage facility in a specific place, and this is then hit by Indian armed forces, then the Pakistanis know this even better. And then the situation is simple. If somebody, you know your own commanders, you know that they are very cautious, even over-cautious sometimes. And when they start targeting such facilities, then the situation is crystal clear, and there is a clear-cut victory. Why? Because nobody dares targeting other people's nuclear storage facilities, except one is sure that the enemy cannot retaliate.
So that's a very important calculation, Tom, that the Indian military has taken, obviously, right? General Bakshi, quite clearly, the Indian military, the Indian political leadership has done a calculation of this. And if it is true that there's no official confirmation of what Tom is saying, he says there isn't, but he believes there's enough evidence that the Pakistanis have had some kind of a nuclear hit, which could be a nuclear storage facility or something that is a near hit, which is why they panicked. Now, obviously then, General Bakshi, we know there is a nuclear storage facility and we know there's possible collateral damage and we hit it, which means we believe that there is no first strike ability or counter strike ability by the Pakistanis, leave alone a second strike ability. There is no counter strike ability left by the 9th morning with the Pakistanis.
Arnab, it's entirely my personal view.
Yes, sir.
But the Pakistanis on that fateful night had fired a Fateh tactical ballistic missile against us. A tactical ballistic missile can carry a conventional warhead or a nuclear warhead. It was aimed at New Delhi, right? There is no way of knowing. When you fire a conventional tactical missile, ballistic missile, there is no way of knowing what the warhead is till it hits.
That's right.
And I don't think any Indian government would have waited to be hit, all right?
Yeah.
So I do feel that some underground nuclear facility has been hit. There is an American Beechcraft.
Okay.
We've got the exact number, designation, etc., which, you know, belongs to the American, they measure nuclear radiation. It was up, 4 o'clock we struck, 5 o'clock that aircraft was flying over the Kirana Hills, it was flying over Chagai, and it landed at Islamabad at Chaklala, right? And it picked up nuclear radiation. The next day, an IL-76 aircraft from Egypt comes with a load of boron, tons of boron. Boron is used when there is a nuclear meltdown.
Yes.
Boron is used when there is an absolute, massive radiation and you want to tamp it down in a hurry. I would just say, Arnab, that before the Pakistanis start doing victory dances, ask the citizens of Islamabad and Rawalpindi to have the nuclear radiation level checks. If you need to get the hell out of there, please do. Please do. That's all that I would say.
So, then therefore, since this discussion is a very important discussion happening this evening on whether...
Assessment.
Since this discussion, General Bakshi, is a very important and critical discussion on whether India has become a military superpower, and several experts around the world, General Dayal, in the course of the last 3 days, have written analysis, opinion pieces that we always knew the Indian army was the second largest army in the world. We are a larger army than the Russian army. We have the 4th largest air force, and we have the 4th largest navy with a huge amount of relative combat experience, which is more than the Chinese. But the thing has been that as far as India is concerned, India's global positioning, the land of Mahatma Gandhi, believers in non-violence, a peaceful, non-aligned country that does not trouble others, has been harassed by terrorism and continues not to hit Pakistan, tries to have a brotherly affection towards Pakistan even after being hit, it made India look soft. But now, after what has happened in the last 10 days, the analysis is, General Dayal, that this is a very unpredictable country. It's a right-wing country. And it is a very deadly military where the military is given a far more greater degree of operational freedom than has been done in the past. So this makes it, and it's been backed up by very, very strong paramilitary forces and special forces and marine commandos and deadly strike ability and nuclear formations that other countries don't have. So the whole assessment of India has changed now, General Dayal. You know, what we've done is something even the Israelis have not done, because the Hamas is not nuclear powered.
Arnab, कहते हैं देर आए दुरुस्त आए, right? That's the Hindi saying, and you can explain to the friends foreign.
Der aaye durust aaye, Tom, means better late than never.
Right. And but we have been very convinced that we are neither the 4th in anything, nor 5th, nor 3rd, nor anything. We may not have the technological superiority of arms like the US may have, or maybe Russia have, and we may not have that sort of, large numbers of nukes or large number of, naval fleets. But let me tell you, Arnab, when it comes to fighting.
When it comes to fighting,
No. Let me just conclude. Let me just give it this thing to everybody. When it comes to fighting, I think after Kargil war, if any adversary, if any nation still thinks that India can be bullied, India can be pushed, then I think he is living a doomsday. Indian Army proved in Kargil that it can do the most impossible thing even in the modern world. That it can charge, not on the death, not in the valley of death, but on the heights of death. And they did it, and they succeeded it. So when I was in Moscow, I used to hear assistant military attaches of UK and all countries, and only thing I heard was, Bishamba, there is nobody today who can fight like that. So you got to grant your soldier, you got to grant your army. We are highly professional, and people have not added our morale, our training, our which world can give you a soldier who is willing to give his life within 30,000 rupees? Nowhere. I mean, this is because nothing counts to our soldier. To our soldier, once he's trained, once he's inducted into the unit, all that matters to him is Naam, Namak, Nishan, and all that matters to him is the flag of India, and all that matters to him is every inch of Indian territory. And for that, believe you me, he neither needs nuke, nor is he scared of nukes. He neither needs super aircraft, nor is he scared of aircraft. This is just, people have just seen a trailer of our Air Force. People have not seen what we would have done if we would have joined land battle. World would have shivered. People have not seen what would have happened to Pakistan if the naval battle had been joined. And believe you me, as far as, here I would like to say, because I always believe that China is the major adversary, Pakistan is just a puppet state. Pakistan is just a puppet state to my mind. I mean, others can have their own opinion, right? So I'm of the opinion that if ever we have to fight, and I'll give you one Galwan, a little bit here I'd like to describe to people. Our boys went in a smaller number to the place which was occupied by battalion-sized people of China. Right, they had come and they had put the tent there. A small number went with the show, right? And the story is that all of them stood there, not one back. If somebody fell, and they were not carrying arms like the Chinese were carrying, like the type of weapons without firing Chinese were carrying. These boys went purely to get a peaceful resolution, like the white flag type, people remove your tent. And believe you me, the Chinese, the stories are that the boy stood there. If somebody fell, he picked him up. And they stood there without this till the Chinese did not back out larger in number. We were smaller in number. Our boys fell, our CEO fell, but not a man moved back. They fell into the river, they fell into the ice-cold water, not a man stepped back. That is the dare courage we carry, which cannot be described in vectors, which cannot be described in terms of technology. And of course, we have a very, very, very capable Air Force. We have a very capable air defense, and it is growing. Air defense power of India is growing. We have some old weapons. We understand, all of us, those who are here from the army or from the armed forces, we understand we have our shortcomings, but we are making up slowly. Like Akash is our own. Akash is our own from the very beginning. And Akash, if you really look at it, the radars are our own, made by Bell. All 90% of radars in the air defense system. The command and control, own, made by Bell. Nobody else. Our entire command control center, from where actually that is the hub. No. And what we are stuck at Pakistan, I don't know. I don't think, because I've seen Chernobyl. I've been to Moscow around Chernobyl after 10, 12 years. I don't think there is. I'm 200% sure, and I made it very clear, that the command center, that the nuclear command center has been hit.
Somewhere, something nuclear, Madhav Nalapat, the general feeling is that we hit something nuclear. And there is no official.
Arnab, nuclear command center is the nerve center.
Why don't we say that? I mean, we will never make that announcement, of course.
Without casualties. Arnab, let's be very wise. A nuclear leak which cannot be patched.
By
now there would have been
in my hand.
Yeah, what are you holding in your hand? Madhav Nalapat, please. Yes, sir.
It is a radioactivity sensing equipment. An equipment that senses radioactivity, and it can be kept in your trouser pocket and taken out if there is a fear of nuclear radiation. Nuclear scientists routinely wear this. Nuclear technicians routinely wear this. This is all. For heaven's sake, this is all, not very much. And it gives an alert, a very sharp beep if the radiation goes above a safe level. I don't see any beep here, but I'm sure there must have been quite a few beeps after we struck that nearby. So I'm just saying, Arnab.
But Madhav sir,
We have this on our tanks.
Madhav sir, 1 minute. General Dayal, 1 minute. Madhav sir, see, this makes India, at the end of the day, Madhav Nalapad, let me put it to you like this. The world's most populous nation with among the top 3 militaries, but which has not flexed its muscle. It has a cold start doctrine, but it has not flexed its muscle. We've been the nice guys of the world. We're not seen to be an aggressive country. But this time, Madhav, something, I mean, especially the incredible directional leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He said this is not an age of war, but what Modi has shown is that India, if it is troubled, will hit back 100 times as hard. Therefore, there is this new strategic red line has never been crossed, Madhav. We've drawn this red line. It's not only terror, it's not only terrorism, it is the ability to hit back. I mean, if the world was impressed when the Americans sent their Apaches to kill Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad, that is 1% of what we've done. We have, in 23 minutes, using scalp missiles, hammer bombs, Rafale jets, demonstrated a huge military superiority. Now, question is, obviously this makes the world look at us differently. The usual, the woke newspapers around the world have started, oh, India is very aggressive, India has become much more dangerous than Israel, we've got to calm down India. These kind of conversations are beginning. Why? How do we deal with the way the world is going to look at us differently right now?
Arnab, you're talking about a very small corner of the world. The bulk of the population in any country will support a country that takes a strong stand. You know the old adage, nice guys finish last. If you're a nice guy in the international geopolitics being played out now, you finish last. And how do you achieve peace? I am entirely for peace. You achieve peace through overwhelming strength and deterrent capability and offensive capability. Without that, you can't achieve peace. Anywhere, in any part of the world, you're at risk. It's the same thing in your own house. If you have a deterrent capacity, people are afraid of that. Words spreads. Nobody don't. If you're defenseless, well, you're easy prey. So I would like to say you're perfectly right. The ingredient is Prime Minister Modi's leadership.
That's true.
He believes in the Indian people. He believes in India. He believes in the military. And the second ingredient is homegrown instruments. Let's be honest. It's always dangerous to make and assemble in India. It's very important to make in India, because assembling in India is one thing. And then, for example, take some sophisticated aircraft of today. Every one of them has got a microchip which gives real-time data to Dassault. The Dassault aviation. So they know exactly the effectiveness, the range, what has happened to every aircraft. It's a huge risk, assuming that that country, but luckily Paris is a good friend of India, of Delhi, but supposing it were a hostile country or came into a government that was hostile, we'd be in deep trouble. So I think the Prime Minister's stress on Make in India has paid dividends, and you've seen through BrahMos, for example, it's made in India and Indian technology. And may I say one thing, Arnab, what is needed, our scientists got complete freedom to make the nuclear weapon, to make the space, to make the platforms, and to basically send satellites into orbit.
No, but just to interrupt there, sir, I get everyone in. We've always been told, watch out for Pakistan. It's a small country, it's a crumbling economy, but it's a mad country. It's mad. It's irrational, it's Islamist, it's jihadi, and therefore they have a low nuclear threshold, Commodore Bikramjit Singh. They can push the nuclear button at the drop of a hat. What happens of that perception now?
Yes, Arnab, the very good point you brought out here. But, if you see history, see after World War II, when the Americans bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki on 6th and 8th of August.
Yes, sir.
1945, the world saw the effect of that bomb. And the people suffered for, decades. And after that, even in the,
you're saying the Pakistanis won't press the button.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Cold War, at the very peak of the tension between the Russia and the US, nobody pressed that button. But, so I am of the firm, believe that somebody pressing the button is not going to happen because the consequences are dire and dead. So I'm very sure this would not have happened. But having seen the way the Pakistanis have behaved, but I'm still sure they will not press the button, very sure of that. Even, in 89 when the German, the wall broke.
Yeah.
But, and the effects of, people are talking about the nuclear thing. So let me just tell you one thing, that in case there was any attack, such an attack, definitely the radiation levels would have gone to such alarming levels like Sir just brought out. There would have been loud beeps everywhere, and that level of chaos is something is unimaginable.
Yeah, so, but the thought, but General KK Sinha, you've been in Kargil, you're a Kargil war hero, you've destroyed the Pakistanis at those altitudes, you always talk of the real inability of the Pakistanis to fight in hand-to-hand combat. This time, did they expect us to use the BrahMos? Did they expect us to tone down after day 3? When they kept sending the drones, and they sent armed drones, did they expect we would also respond with drones and not with the BrahMos, sort of the supersonic Mach 3 missile? Did they think this would never happen? The BrahMos is such a high accuracy, such a low interception, and such an expensive rapid target engagement that the Pakistanis probably thought it would happen after 1 month of war. Not on day 4.
Good evening, Arnab. Very interesting question. Let me first congratulate Jahan to you and your team. You asked me a very, very interesting question. On the backdrop of nuclear blackmail, and then Tom Copper is here. I think he's a very authentic and renowned combat air aviation historian today. I'm very happy, and I would like to have a chat with him.
Yes, sir, please go ahead. Put Tom on it. You can address Tom directly, sir. He's on it.
Yeah, you asked. Yeah, Tom, thank you very much. Tom, when you said today, and I tweeted, when you said, when one side, you talked about India bombing nuclear weapon storage facility of Pakistan. The other side, that is Pakistan, has no ability to retaliation left, then that is a clear-cut victory. Clear-cut victory. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tom. I'll come back to your question regarding, you said the 10th of May, launching of BrahMos, and Arnab, let me tell you, Kahuta has no one has spoken. You know where is the Kahuta? Kahuta is 5 kilometers, south of Islamabad. In that area is the Kahuta. Yep. And, where is Chaklala? Where is Noor Khan? When we say 10th is the day when the land under the knee of Pakistani slipped. They were talking about something Sise ki Diwar. They used Sise ki Diwar. This was in the address. That has broken. That is shattered. That is the day also when Sargodha was hit. 16 nuclear tunnels are there. And I don't know, Tom will bear with me, whether he revealed or not. When we talk about Changai Hill, Karana Hill, we all know, because when we are talking, it is not today's knowledge. We are doing something. That is the day, I am telling you, the whole world, not Pakistan, the whole world, when the people started jumping and tweeting and writing that, they are scared, because they have got their, we call it the military the assets over there. They're called civilian who are maintaining all those things. They are there. Then the feet under them has slipped. Someone told me from, Degogasia, some plane came, tried to check the radiations. See, this nuclear bogey, if you, remember now, because I have seen in Kargil war, we were not allowed to go because they came inside. They came inside, I was fighting with the highest, people who were that time we landed in the area from where I was going. And I asked, can we go across? What was our limitations? Not a single step that side. Yeah. Otherwise, that is the self-moratorium we have said. Like first hit is our self-moratorium. We will not hit, to anyone. But this time, I am giving you a guess. I think your viewers are understand. First hit we have taken that we will not cross in Kargil war. This time we have gone on 10th May, 4th day of the conflict, which I call it surgical war. We had a surgical strike. I call it surgical war, which has been enlisted from 22nd. Water war is the part of that. Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, I want to go back to Tom before I go to Saurabh. Tom, now you had six experts from India, 5 from the army. I now want you to give me your more detailed assessment. Your quotes have gone quite viral here in India, not because people are seeking a ratification of what the Indian military has done, but because for obvious reasons, the Indian military is not owning up to what it has done, but obviously is well aware of the impact that it has had on Pakistan. How do you view this in terms of how other countries will view India, how the world will view India in terms of air power, application of power, etc.? Tom?
Well, it is so that there was always a strange, as long as I'm around and working in this business, there was always lots of wondering, how comes India has such a huge armed forces? And it was already considered a superpower back in the 1990s, but this is never supported by politics. So you always had this imbalance between your theoretical military capabilities, which were never really put to the test since 1971, and your political unwillingness to apply this power to advantage of your country. This was something that was making plenty of people kind of convinced the Indians lacked the self-confidence or capability to command and control, or the political will, or whatever. And so what has changed, even now in this, let's call it the May War, or whatever you want to call it, there was first this punitive strike against terror targets inside Pakistan, without widening the entire story, without trying to hit Pakistani armed forces, although everybody knows that Pakistani armed forces are tightly interconnected with the jihadists in Pakistan on these camps that were hit. So I was also wondering at first, and if you check my older posts on my blog, I was even fiercely critical of both government in New Delhi and the command. Why was there no decision to go straight, right from the start and hit the Pakistani air defenses and then hit the terror camps? Fortunately for India, and I hope also fortunately for lots of other countries in similar situation, New Delhi found the strength, to go over this, to switch the tactics, switch the strategy, and in a matter of 24 hours, you had the strikes on Pakistani air defenses, followed by strikes on air bases, and so on and so on. So now, whenever somebody is outside, somebody, whatever countries, especially the United States, which are still, at least in their minds, a close ally of Pakistan, they'll have to keep this in mind, that India is capable of this quick switch, fundamental switch of strategy, and saying, okay, sorry, we are no nice guys anymore. Next time you hit us, we are going to blow you away, if necessary. Because this was really what was happening on the morning of 10th of May was short of really destroying the Pakistan fundamental capabilities of Pakistani armed forces, because once you destroy the air defenses, when you push the air force so far away from the border that your air force is capable of approaching the border and targeting deep into Pakistan, then you obtain the capability not only to strike nuclear weapons storage sites, but also the capability to operate at tactical level and to strike, selected targets along the line of control of the international border. And then you have an entirely different image. This is what is this fundamental change.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Tom is saying. It's a new strategic dawn for India. Yeah. And one of the hallmarks of global leadership is that you have to think and act like one. Under a decisive leadership of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, our armed forces have been allowed to do what they are best at, combined with the diplomatic firepower. So we have a whole triad which worked very well this time. And, the world is now noticing that not only is India a global economic power, it is also a strategic and military power which will change the game and also has changed a strategic doctrine that if it is provoked, it will hit back and hit back within the Pakistani territory. That's what we did. So I think the global mindset towards India will change, and that's the reason why I called Operation Sindoor a new strategic dawn for India. Not only on the global landscape, but also in our immediate vicinity. Even countries like China, they've got a message that this is not an India that you can provoke and get away. And other countries who are watching us today, and I'll tell you, I'm talking to a lot of global observers. You mentioned, yes, the woke media will wake up. The reason is why? Because they're rattled down, because this is an India which has not only hit back, it has hit deep where it hurts the most. And we are not talking about where we hit. These are strategic targets, but the world knows where we hit, it pinches. And the Pakistanis know that while they're on an asylum, we are the asylum keepers who run the show now. We know how to not only discipline them, but also make sure that we hurt them where it hurts the most. And the Pakistani army and the ISI realizes that. And they will continue to do pinpricks, but they know that this is a determined India, a decisive India, as I call it in Hindi, a Sashakt Bharat, which will hit back whenever you provoke us. This is the new strategic doctrine.
Also, General Bakshi wanted to respond to you, Tom, out there. Yeah, General Bakshi, I think you wanted to say something to Tom's analysis.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Arnab, like I said, I stand by my individual, strictly personal assessment made from open source analysis, number one. To my very dear friend, Professor Nalpat, I'd like to state I have not, repeat, not talked of a nuclear explosion. What I have spoken of is a radiological explosion, oblique cook off. It is not a nuclear explosion. So let's not put word in my mouth, right? There has been seismological activity, right? And that doesn't happen when you drop peanuts.
Yeah.
Not one seismological event, 5.4, 4.5, and there are some other events that have been noted in that time. That data should be available from across the globe, right? And if somebody wants to make an independent assessment of it, we can. What I want to tell Tom is, Tom, that in the Bismarckian state era, a great power was recognized by its ability to wage war on its own without looking over its shoulder and taking a nod or an okay from anybody else in the world. We haven't asked the United States for a nod. We haven't asked Russia, and China, of course, won't give us that nod, right? We have hit back. We have hit back in pure self-defense. Pure self-defense. International law gives a nation the right to hot pursuit. We have exercised that right to hot pursuit. And I'm sure in times to come, this will come out. What I have made is an absolutely individual assessment. I'm equally aware of the counterpoint that there are a lot of agencies trying to spread disinformation, nuclear panic to make India do a ceasefire, to make India.
So that is my other point. Do you think that is my other point, General Dayal?
Arnab, I'm coming in. I'm coming in for a short this thing. See, we are on one of the most credible TV channels today we have in the country, right? We cannot be factually wrong.
No.
One of the Professor Madhav said was that the BrahMos is all Indian, all Indian setup. No, please. And let me tell you, BrahMos joint venture was signed in 1998. And Madhavji, you will be surprised. You know who was the Prime Minister?
That is correct.
The Prime Minister was Mr. Gujral, and the Defence Minister was Mulayam Singh Ji. And the program was part of initially the program of missile program which started in 1983. So that's me. And Akash was inducted in 2009. Please, let's be factually very correct. This is our missile program has been going on since 1983, and 2005 to 2010-11 we have really matured. And BrahMos was joint venture, totally away from the Indian missile system. But there are components of Russia. Russia is our strategic partner. It's a strategic weapon system with both the countries. All that I wanted to say was that, and I'm factually absolutely correct. I come from defense industry. I have a long experience in Russia for 3.5 years. So I understand what I'm talking about.
No, I'm not denying that. Madhav, would you like to respond?
I'd like to say that radioactivity has to be within the word nuclear. Nuclear activity is radioactive. That was the point I was making. And obviously, there was some nuclear activity taking place. And I'm not going to venture into speculation or anything about that. But the fact that the DJMO in Pakistan came, asked for ceasefire, asked the world for help, all that is very telling. All that circumstantial evidence is very telling.
No.
And I'd like to say, you must always have the worst case scenario in mind.
No, I only want to ask you as a layman, the question is this, and let me go back to Tom on this. On the 10th of May early morning, if we have targeted with the BrahMos missile the Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi, obviously we know that it is the center, the key facility for their early warning systems, refueling aircraft, air mobility command. But at the same time, we've also targeted the Mushaf Air Base in Sargodha. Obviously, the world knows that under the Mushaf Air Base in Sargodha, people are not storing vegetables. The Mushaf Air Base in Sargodha is linked to an underground nuclear storage site beneath the Kirana Hills. And therefore, maybe we are sending a message to Pakistan, I don't know, that we can neutralize you. If you push us anymore, we will neutralize you. We don't want to get into nuclear war and things. We'll just finish you off. There's no strike ability for it.
If you permit me, Arnab, at that point in time,
yes, Tom.
I'm sure that the generals in New Delhi already knew that Pakistan is so far that they can strike such a facility.
Yes.
Again, you do not take such decisions easily. And especially Indian armed forces generals do not take such decisions easily as to strike a nuclear weapons storage facility. Nobody's doing that, but Indian generals in particular would never do such a decision easily. And this is one of crucial moments. That means that at that point in time, they have felt already safe enough to strike such a facility, and that Pakistan is not going to be able to answer.
Well, I repeat once again that the Indian army has denied hitting any nuclear bases. That question was asked. There is a clear denial to that.
I understand that they have denied this. I have written actually several books in relation to this, including one about 1973 Arab-Israeli war, where there was a similar situation, where actually Egypt and Syria attacked a nuclear power, and Syria even targeted it with frog surface-to-surface missiles, and Israel retaliated with conventional means. But again, you have this situation now in modern times. This was 40 years ago. We now have in modern times without the United Nations, which would have any kind of powers to kind of manage this conflict, without USA, without Russia having the ability, or China having the ability to influence this conflict. They all had to accept what the decisions taken in New Delhi, and they had no ability to force New Delhi, or to influence New Delhi into taking some decisions.
No.
That is one point. And the other point, excuse me, just for the end, so to say, what is certainly going to be considered in the future is this, you have this decades of one Indian strategy, which is a peaceful country. We are not aggressor. We are not starting wars. And they hit us and they hit us again. 120-something terrorist attacks by Pakistan since 2008 alone. I mean, what other country would tolerate an attack on its own parliament? Not to talk about Mumbai. Okay?
Yes, 26/11.
You stood still over there and were taking punches and taking punches and taking punches. And now, all of a sudden, in a matter of 24 hours, you have switched your strategy for 180 degrees. This is something you are not going to experience very often. Check the Americans, check the Russians, check whoever you like. They all have their indoctrinated strategy, and they're sticking to this strategy and doing and pursuing it no matter what. But India has demonstrated capability to switch this strategy, and its armed forces were also capable to act correspondingly. So this synergy, this combination is absolutely amazing.
So I think, Tom, that's new India strategy, new Bharat strategy. Viewers, I'll take a break. And as I take a break, I want to just tell you that, I have to make an announcement out here that the Republic School of Journalism has a program in journalism diploma beginning next month on this campus. My idea here in the Republic Media Network is to make journalism in the service of nationalism. And I believe if you want to be a journalist, a good journalist, you'll have to be a nationalist. RSJ has an 11-month training program that's starting. I've got all the details out there. I want, together with you, to shape at least 100, 200 fearless journalists every year, maybe more. So you can apply that if you want. Viewers, when I come back, the other big story tonight, what is the barometer of the national mood? How are people thinking about what happened over the last 1 week? We'll dip in, and yes, I will open the lines tonight.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDA चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDA चटनी पुदीना मसाला।